Well, howdy fellers. So it's another weekend. It's pretty much the end of Memorial Day weekend here. 3-day weekends are always a good bonus to try and actually get a lot accomplished. And we sort of did. I mean, it doesn't look like it, but you know, everything always takes 3 times longer than you thought it would take. And this weekend is no different. You know, we had 3 full days and I worked really hard all 3 days, but it's really hard to see any progress. But we got a lot of details done. We finished off the installation up here. We got pretty much everything buttoned up. Today I remembered to reinforce, because we got our latch going in right here somewhere, so I needed an extra piece there. So I remembered to do that. I also put in all these little pieces. There's little pieces here and here. Some more over there, and then I can't even remember what I did Friday, really. I don't even remember. Sort of remember what I did yesterday to some degree, but not a whole lot. Today, though, I do remember that I started out by cutting these pieces. I got this piece in for this is the power cord deal. So that's for shore power. And then I got this piece cut and made for these corners here to round out these doors. I had forgotten about that. And also this morning I got that piece put in again for the latch or the lock, whatever you want to call it, deadbolt kind of thing. And then most of the day really was just spent insulating. Started here and just worked my way every little piece all the way. And you know, one thing originally on the other side, I had started by doing one big piece, but I kind of found out that, you know, the plywood is so wavy that, and you know, these foam boards aren't exactly 2 inches. They're pretty damn straight, but they're not exactly 2 inches all the time. And sometimes they're kind of a little bit crooked. So like this big piece here, that is one big piece, but I had to clamp the crap out of it, and I had to I had to shim it to get it to push in and glue down well. Same with this piece and this piece here. So as I went along, I found out that it's better to have smaller pieces. Smaller pieces will just glue in better and sit in better. Now when I go to do the outside skin, I'm going to have to make some kind of clamps, some kind of long arm clamps that can really reach in. And you know, well, like as an example, right in this area, you know, I need a clamp that can reach in a foot or two, you know, like this far, and squeeze, because the foam is glued to this plywood, but then the outer plywood, the outer skin plywood, is going to be all flexy too and all wavy. So I need some kind of like long arm clamp that can do at least a 1.5 foot. I need something that can squeeze, and I'm going to need quite a few of those. So I think I need to do some looking around for some like easy homemade long arm clamps, kind of a deal. But anyways, yeah, I got some of this done. Of course, this little hole, this is for the solar power port, and I angled the hole, so if there is any water ingress here, that, you know, everything's sloping this way, so it's not going to slope into the camper. Trying to really keep in mind when I'm doing this that everything I make, I want to have everything thinking about water runoff, and I want to have some kind of drip edge for everything, and I want to make sure everything is protected from rain. That's why I did this little lip here to make sure, you know, I mean, we're going to have a couple seals here, at least one if not two, but if the seals fail and there's some kind of water ingress right here, there's a lip that'll keep it from rolling over and going down the wall. Hopefully it'll just drip down, and we're gonna have to figure out a way to channel it at that point. But anyways, I'll probably just add a seal right here so that if there's any water, it'll hit this seal and it can't go this way. It'll just keep going down and out. I think that's probably what will end up happening there. But anyways, yeah, that's where we're at so far. I'm pretty tired from just constant non-stop getting up and cutting a piece and going back to the saw and back and forth, back and forth. But it is what it is, you know. And the whole saw setup, I just cleaned up everything, but we had that plywood and that foam over here. I had my bandsaw. I got my little project bandsaw, and of course I got my table saw. So between the bandsaw over there and the table saw over here, we were able to cut up all the little pieces pretty quickly. But it's a lot of walking back and forth, getting up and down, and very repetitive. And just, I mean, as you can see, hundreds of pieces. And like I say, I realized it was better. That's where I was talking about. That's where I was going with that. It's better to have little pieces about like 10 by 10 or maybe 12 by 12. Like even this piece is probably too big, but this area was pretty flat, so it wasn't too big of a deal. And like right here, you can see like dramatic difference. Let me get down here. So like down here, we're almost flush. But then right here, I mean, we're really sunken in. Like, you can see how far off we are. Like, this is sticking out so much, so is this, and then this is sunken in. And then, I mean, how does that happen, you know? How does that happen? I mean, the foam is pretty consistent at 2 inches, so, I mean, is that the plywood? You know, is that the plywood that's that out of whack, you know? And same thing, like right here, sunken in really good right here, poking out. Some of these pieces are understandable because you have different thicknesses, and then you have, like this is 1.5 inches on top of some plywood right there. And these are where I have my little blocks. Like, see that little block in there? You can see that wood block. So that's not even 1 inch. That's like 3/4. So I just glued in like 1 inch blocks and then shaved them with the pole saw. But yeah, lots of little pieces like this. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's like these pieces. That's sticking out, and then I'll just shave it. But these are cutouts from this piece. So this piece, I cut out this piece because there's a block there where I'm bolting down the little mini shelf, blah, blah, blah. That makes a lot of sense, right? So anyways, just a lot of gluing. And of course I'm using the foam fusion. This says Type Bond 2, but it's not Type Bond 2. This is full of foam fusion, which is down there. That's a, but I mean, that works pretty good. It's some kind of like PVA type glue. And that works really good for foam. But I mean, I don't know longevity of it. I mean, who knows, you know?